बोले सोने हाल सासरी अकाल।
My name is Manjeet Kaur.
My name is Gurnam Singh.
Welcome to the One Show.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki
Fateh.
Fateh. Very special one show today, but also a sad one show. Everybody knows that just yesterday we found out that Bhai Jugraj Singh Ji from Basi of Sikhi left this earth. In his short years on this earth had a huge impact, and whilst today's programme is not going to be about him and his life, we'll do another special maybe another time. Just wanted to just share a few thoughts about Bhai Jugraj Singh Ji before we introduce our guests and tell you about our main kind of focus of the show. But Bani de Vicho, I was reflecting on Gurbani. There's one Ramkali Mala Panjaman, Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Pavane mein pavan samaya, jyoti mein jyot ral jaya. Just like the wind merged into the wind, so the light bends into the light. Yeah. Mati mati hui ek, roban har ki kavan tek. Isi tarah the dust goes into the dust. So what support is there for the one who is lamenting? Kaun hua re kaun hua? Who has died? Who has died? Brahm Gyani mil karo vichar, eo to chalt paya. Can we meet the Brahm Gyani, reflect, and then you realize that there's a greater mission. Actually, Manjeet, what this says that nobody really dies.
No.
Jamana marna, it's part of a cycle. And so, in some ways, I'm thinking about Bhai Jugraj Singh Ji. At one level, he hasn't died.
You don't feel it, like he's still around.
Because he's, he's YouTube videos there, but I think he's left that impression on the hearts and minds of so many people. And the amazing thing about him, I was just reflecting when we started the one show as well, if you remember.
Yeah, I do remember.
About 3 years ago. In fact, the second show by Jugraj Singh Ji was when we were talking about how we can develop the Gurdwaras, and he was very keen into this Sarbat Khalsa concept, the Panj Pyare concept. But many of you will know that he, in 5-6 years' time, he established Everything 13. Tera, there's the word Tera, everything is Tera. Also Basics to Secure the YouTube channel. Sikh Press Association, and many other projects as well he inspired. And I say he's left because of cancer. Jugraj Singh Ji grew up in Hounslow in West London, and actually our two guests are also from Hounslow, and I'm sure that they have their own thoughts. He was a politics and philosophy graduate from Oxford University. I think the great thing about Bhai Jugraj Singh Ji was that he was a doer. Many of us are just talkers, and he was an innovator, if you like, and he was a trailblazer. And in that short period, he, as I said, did so much that it's maybe in a lifetime somebody doesn't achieve that much. And hopefully the work that he started will be continued. And he was recognised by the Prime Minister Theresa May and many others as well. So it's one of his last messages. It was very powerful. I think this was something that he said at the Park Avenue Gurdwara when he actually appeared, when they did a ardas for him. And he says, if the Guru's message has touched you and you feel it's the truth, I urge you to follow that truth and become a good Sikh, as none of us knows how long we have left. Please do ardas that Guruji gives me a place in his charan and keeps my family and the Panth in Chardikala. May the Panth flourish, even if I'm finished. This is pure joy for me. So,
Jugraj had an incredible personality. He touched many lives.
Absolutely.
And he was inspiration to the youth, and he never judged a person by the colour, race or gender.
No,
and I love that about him. He was more like a brother to me, and he was funny. He was always cheerful. That's what I remember about him, and it's amazing.
And he's left 3 beautiful children.
Beautiful.
And Sukhmani,
she's an amazing woman. She's an inspiration as well. She's done a lot of work out there for youth, youngsters.
So Bhai Jugraj Singh Ji, wherever you are, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. As I said, today's program is going to be looking in some senses at some of the trailblazing that Bhai Jagraj Singh ji gave us in terms of using new media, new ways of putting the message of Sikhi across. And today we've got two guests who have, as I say, I'll tell you what. Let's not say that. Let's show you a little video, just to give you a flavour of what we're going to be covering today. So let's watch this short video clip.
I was on the sideline chilling and hoping that people see me. Realize that everything was made up and they'd be faking that it's easy. Cause nobody questioned the stretch that might, so it was like dry elastic. And when I moved to teach a small idea, I hold your mind, I snapped it. Cause I'm like, damn, these people ain't real. I flinch, you don't even feel. This problem is deeper than deep, and then you'll cover and conceal. So now I'm looking at you like, what am I supposed to do? Because even I look broken too. But from this perspective, I got the clearest view. Cause nobody knows what's going on. This proves the first statement that I was on. Think about how lost we feel. Looking at the sun, hoping it's real. Then back to when I was only young, to the first time that I was ever drunk. I didn't find religion, I was chosen one.
So that was a glimpse of what we're going to be doing today. That was by Jagdeep Singh Mahoon, and the track that you saw there was called The Chosen One. By Jagdeep Singh ji, welcome to the One Show. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh ji. And with Bhai Jagdeep Singh is his brother Navdeep Singh as well. Navdeep, welcome to the One Show. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Jagdeep Singh, if I just kind of just say briefly about you, you are a aerospace engineering graduate, yeah?
Yes.
So how do you get from being an aerospace engineering graduate to a rapper, actor, musician, comedian, and all these
ongoing list?
Yeah,
It's lovely. Well, it started with a brief influence from me not having any understanding of who I am in the UK, not having any understanding of where I come from, and then a switch changing within me. It came from a medium of music, and the music was Shahidi music, it was Dadivara with hip-hop beats. And then from that I connected to an event that happened 30 years ago.
So what age was that when this transformation?
I was about 15 years old. 15 years old then.
Okay, we're going to explore a lot more of that. With as I say, with Jagdeep, we've got Navdeep, and Navdeep, again, he's another scientist. He's a physics postgraduate from King's College, and one of the things we're going to be talking about today is an album that you've got, which is Tiari, and we're going to be sharing a track from that as well. So. Once again, सारे नूं फतेह बुलाने हैं, and आज असी मैं पंजाबी च भी दसना क्योंकि साडे पंजाबी फिर आज असी जो साडे दो गेस्ट है कि यह म्यूजिक प्रोडक्शन दे विच इन्हां दा बहुत वड्डा योगदान हैगा और खास करके जिहड़ा हैगा जिहनूं कहंदे रैप म्यूजिक और इहदे बारे भी आपां इहनूं बात पुछांगे भी की है और सिख आइडेंटिटी दे बारे भी खास करके जिहड़ी बाहर दे देशां दे विच सिख जिहड़े नौजवान तीजी जनरेशन ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੰਮ ਪੜਿਆ ਐਂਡ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਈਡੈਂਟਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਨੈਗੋਸ਼ੀਏਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾਲ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਜੁੜਦੇ ਆ ਸੋ ਵੀ ਕੈਨ ਬੀ ਕਵਰਿੰਗ ਆਲ ਥੀਸ ਥਿੰਗਸ ਟੁਡੇ ਆਊਟ
So Jagdeep,
Yes.
let's talk about your music first of all. Tell us, how did you get involved with your the music and of course media production as well?
I'll go into music first because we'll go chronologically. This was when I was about 14, 15 years old, a Monna, and had no understanding of Punjabiyat. They had no understanding of my Sikhi either. Like, it was very brief understanding. I knew of my gurus. I didn't have any understanding of what they meant, what they did for humanity, and why I should respect them in any way. And so
I'm assuming you were born here. You were
Born and bred.
Muslim,
I'm the third generation outside of Punjab, living in the diaspora, trying to make sense of the world around me.
What about your parents? Were they born in England or in Punjab?
So my dad was born here, my mum was born in Punjab.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So where do you get your inspiration from then?
My inspiration, it literally, like, as much as I can from Gurbani and Shabad Kirtan, because that's what drives me, is my journey into Sikhi that wants me to do something new, something for the youth, something to help people. and other inspirations come from Daddiwara, the shaheeds of our Qaum, and all the stories of our gurus, and their inspiration to me so deeply about how much they did for the world.
Right.
If I could backtrack, like when I was about 15 years old, I used to freestyle with a few friends. This was when I was
okay. Now, when I hear the word freestyle, I think it's boxing, but this is
freestyle like
forms
Gothka.
of rap. No, it's
That's
rap.
right,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Rap.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. So it'll be like
freestyle
Sing
rap.
Suma, we back with the Avengers, reminders of the backward dividenders.
Wow.
And then we'll just carry on, we'll flow, put out our pain and expression and get it out in the open between us.
Instead of keeping it locked, you express yourself in rap.
No, it was a brilliant form for doing that. And
I mean, I'm second generation. Yeah.
Yes.
Manjeet is born here, and I was only 2 years old when I came, and I still feel kind of like a Punjabi mindset. But the kind of stuff that you guys are doing, it seems to be, if anything, it's a kind of Harlem. It's a kind of the Bronx. Is that where it's coming from? Is that the influence? The kind of Tupac and people like that?
I think cultural imperialism has a huge effect on us. We are constantly being shown images and taught a way of life through all forms of media. This is something I'm trying to combat with my music, how the sick people are represented in media today as the jokers, the alcoholics, the people who get drunk too much and fight a lot. This is so far removed from what the sick people are. And I find that it's the reason that I got into the bad company in the first place. So once I found out what Sikhi was and how distant it was from what I was doing in my life, I was shocked, and it forced me into this direction essentially.
So maybe I can bring Navdeep in as well. I mean, I know that you're also interested in the kind of colonial influence and how we can maybe find a way through that and discover Sikhi.
I think that generally was the main crux of the whole album itself. So the main album that Jagdeep has created is
with Navdeep doing all the Dilruba and the production
Amazing.
behind it.
Beautiful.
So
Tiari, what's that?
So Tiari in a sense preparation. So that's the translation of that.
Tiari the Punjabi ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਨਾ
Yeah, Tiari in Punjabi. So generally as you mentioned before, and Jagdeep mentioned before, is that we're third generation Sikh. So I think in that, just stating the fact that we were born here, our parents have a different mindset, and living with our grandparents is even a different mindset. I think that's where the core and the album lies, in that confusion. So I think in a sense this whole album represents a learning curve of just self-identity, in the fact that being third generation, people don't realize is that we're far disconnected from our culture. Although we may look a certain way, our whole culture is embodied within
Let me just be a bit provocative there, because I mean, I don't know whether you're seeking some kind of essence or some primordial kind of purity, because it seems to me that even if you take the culture of the Guru period, that was heavily influenced by previous periods. You know, we've got the Bhagat traditions and things. So isn't culture just kind of what I'm suggesting is that you're making culture rather than, as it were, discovering old culture. I don't know. Old and new.
This is the stark differences between our generations. So the first generation that came here, my Babaji, he inherently knew he was Punjabi. And there were teachings that came from the Pind, from his parents, from his colleagues, from everyone who inherently knew who they were. Coming over to England, then my dad's only connection was through my Babaji.
Okay.
And then slowly, then
so
the
you
generation.
must have got a lot of education from your grandparent, your parents.
Hanji, it was Kirpa that we did, because a lot of people.
But let me just pick that up, because I mean, again, I think when you say inherently, it implies there's an essence. So what is the essence of Punjabiness then? Is there something called Punjabiness?
I think it's just being born in a Punjabi community that allows you to have that. Whilst we're Punjabi at home, and then outside, we're influenced by the Western culture. So then we're colliding with two different things, battling for an identity of one or
Punjabi
the other.
And the Western.
However, like you said, we are mixing it up and then creating something new, if that's for the better, if that's for worse.
Navdeep, sometimes it's said that if there is an essence to Punjabiness, well, maybe there are two things there. One is obviously the rivers and the Punjab, There's something about the land and the kind of place itself, and the nature. But there's also Gurbani, Gurmukhi, the Gurus. Kende Punjab vasta Guruan de upar. is that where we find the essence of Punjabiness?
That's exactly what we're going to talk about. So the fundamental idea of what Jagdeep is presenting with his album, and collaboratively, we try to present a Sikh narrative in that area. So just generally something more down and Sikhi based. I don't think that's done before. I'm
I think
familiar with that.
That touches on your point where it's instead of Punjabiyat, where I might have got that wrong, it's the Sikhi involved in Punjabi communities that has like been built in over the years, the Guru's period, over the Sikh Raj, all throughout that time, an impression of Sikhi was being left on the Punjabi community.
What sort of from our Punjabi community, what sort of feedback do you get from your rap? And you know, so because
polarize it.
Yeah.
Some people find it.
They say, we're something, you know, what's going
and
on.
Others are probably loving it. I don't know. Is it polarizing?
I think
every feedback we've got has been positive.
Yeah, everything.
So you've got the aunties and the grannies kind of rapping.
Going for it.
Have you got any of them?
I think specifically what relates to those, I think Jagdeep's got some ability. So when he raps and creates his music, he makes sure that you have that element of understanding the way that our parents taught us and grandparents, the way they spoke to us. He has that element within it.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting aspect, is that like the first and second generation, they think Punjabi like like whoever's speaking galla Punjabi vich hunde dimag ch, and then when we speak in English, there's a difference. So when someone's translating what they're thinking of Punjabi into English, it comes out backwards, because you'll have someone say, "I want to go home," and then in Punjabi it's "main ghar nu jana." The subject is on the opposite side of the sentence.
Yes.
Well, this is interesting you're saying that, because if we can bring in by Jagraj Singh back here, and maybe you might want to say something about him.
Yeah.
One of the big issues that he was challenging was this idea that we can only teach Sikhi through the medium of Punjabi. He says we have to get to Punjabi to taste it, to get the taste of Gurbani, but we need to speak languages. And he often used to say, when the Gurus went on their travels, Guru Nanak Pasha, he would have spoken the native languages. Yet there will be people watching this program who probably ring in and say, "Tusi Punjabi ch bolo, sanu samjh nahi aa rahi." How do we kind of overcome some of those tensions?
I think that's quite a big topic in itself, and I can only
because you mix both in your raps. You move quite from English, kind of a certain type of English, and then Punjabi. You move in between the two.
Yeah, I think that's important, as it represents who I am. मैं दी पंजाबी विच गल करनी है, दी English विच करनी है ना, and I think like the people it connects to deeply is they have no other music like that around them. There's no one that's been brought up in London, brought up in the diaspora. That's third generation who's making music. So that interesting connection, I find that fascinating.
But that's a skill as it is, like developing that skill, rap. I mean, how long did it take you
to rap?
Is it natural, or do you have? Is it like football? You have to train, or you have to be naturally.
Do you know? I think I have to bring it back to a lot of the Gurbani I was reading. So like Jagardam, Nagardam, Bagardam, Baje, Dasham Pasha, and Namastang Akaal, Namastang Karpalan. These force a syllable and a rhythm within your music. Even every single shabad in Gurbani is written in a structure that will fit within music. So I think we're almost destined to be more musical.
And I mean, I think I might be wrong, but the rap it basically is an abbreviation for rhythm and poetry. Is that right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's rhythm, R-A-P, rhythm and poetry.
Interesting.
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I'll tell you why.
Thank you very much.
Because what you do is, it's like poetry, but there's a kind of beat, isn't there?
Yeah.
So it is a kind of a rhythm, which in some senses, if you think about, say, Tadivara, that's very similar, isn't it? And it covers both, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think one big influence has been Rag Kirtan in a sense. So just going back to the Sikh type of music, and since in Gurbani, if you look at the chapters in which it's split up in, it's specifically in Rag chapters. I think we didn't really understand what that was, because I remember when I first started reading Gurbani, you'd read Rag Pero, but you don't know what that means. Yeah. So I think that essence of the fact that the Gurus themselves used music in a sense to speak to us. Is quite
Are you bringing rag into the raps as well?
We are. So we're trying as much as we can. So within the music, we got Navdeep Singh playing the Dilruba. come up with a concept of what I want the song to be about. I said, Navdeep, what rag fits this best? And then he'll play the Dilruba piece, we'll fix a style, and then I'll write the lyrics for that. And not only that, when we're singing the hooks, we try and keep them in rag, keep them in sur and moving. So people get used to hearing and then can make that transition. That's how it was for me when I was listening to Shahidi music, which was Dadiwara. It allowed me a way to connect.
Just, I mean, on still sticking on the rap itself, one of the things that I know that some of the critiques of American rap, and particularly the black kind of rap, is that it can be quite misogynic and maybe patriarchal, but also there's lots of anger in there. I know that often the justification is that it is a vehicle for people to talk about their oppression. Because is there anger in your rap, or is that misinterpreting it?
I think it.
Because it comes across as quite aggressive at times.
This is a bit of a fun question.
It's quite interesting because when I listen to rap, in a sense, that specifically Jagdeep's album, although it may seem aggressive in some ways, it's almost. I think it's down to interpretation.
Is that B-Ras? Would you call it B-Ras? What would it be?
It's interesting. I think it's just a different medium, and this medium is, like you said, from what I know, it's for the oppressed, and the oppressed are never able to, like when you're oppressed, you get to a point where you don't have anywhere else to put your passion. You're in slavery, you're in bondage. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ, and then it comes out in the way that you want to do things.
There's a very interesting Brazilian South American kind of saying. It's the Zapatistas, who were the kind of proletarian of it, like who were kind of fighting the landowners and the government, and they said that there's this concept of ya basta, it's called. It's a Portuguese word means enough's enough. It's like, and then there's an explosion of anger. So is this sense of, you talk about oppression, I mean, in some sense Sikhs, young Sikhs, well, our generations, we're oppressed in the West in terms of racism. We become victims of Islamophobia, mistaken identity, if you like, but we're also oppressed from our Punjab homeland. It's almost as if we feel displaced, dislodged. Is there something about that sense of not belonging anywhere?
I think one thing that's really interesting is that when we look at the diaspora that's here and what the majority are up to and what they're doing, it's almost working hand in hand with the colonizers, with the oppressors. And we shun our Punjabi community. So expecting a backlash, I think it's very natural and logical in a sense.
Time's running on, Manjeet, and we said we were going to talk about the album as well, Diaria.
Yes.
And actually we're going to play one of the tracks from that, which is Punjab, because we've been talking about Punjab. So do you want to say anything about that before we play, or do you want to pick it up afterwards?
I would love to have it play.
So ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਐਲਬਮ ਤੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਲਬਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ rap music ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ. So let's have a quick short listen to that, and then we'll talk about what the message is there.
How many generations will it be before we over here diminish our culture? While the kids, we push it on them and they don't pick it up. Oh, I wonder, is it because we remain here and stay here? Is it because we remain here and stay here? I feel the 5 rivers in my 5 fingers deep in love when I'm drowning. I feel these 5 rivers in my 5 fingers deep in love when I'm drowning. I feel these 5 rivers in my 5 fingers deep in love when I'm drowning. I feel these 5 rivers in my 5 fingers deep in love when I'm drowning. मैं तेरे कोल वापस आना, मैं तेरे कोल वापस आना, मैं तेरे कोल वापस आना, मैं तेरे गोदी विच वापस आना.
So that was a track from this album that Jagdeep has created, and Tiari, and this was Punjab. So just tell us about, tell us about the album first of all, maybe.
Yeah. So just generally about the album structure, I think that's important in itself. You know what?
Yeah. So prior to Tyari, I created an EP, and this is when I was just coming into Sikhi, understanding what it meant to me, how to implement it in my life, and it was when I was first starting to deal with racism. I just let my dadi grow and started doing at the start. I felt like huge amounts of racism immediately because I came from being a Monna, so I understood the stark differences. When I'd often go Barcelona just to for a cheap holiday because you get there for £30 now, and you just sit on the beach and just write some lyrics or do something creative. And then I went there with the Star and Dari. The amount of racism I encountered was just, I could not understand it. Like all encounters I was dealing with violently. So, and it's something I wasn't ever aware of prior. So it was something that
So how did
really
you deal
changed.
with it?
And now I'm learning how to deal with racism in a different way, to put power back into our family, to develop as a community, to understand what racism is, where it comes from, how to tackle it in the best ways possible, instead of using violence. And,
but just, I mean, one of the, I know that your work is influenced by the Frantz Fanon, the French, Algerian, and North African revolutionary. And he talked about in Black Skins, White Masks how often we were, the colonizers' identity becomes
your own identity.
Your own identity, but it cannot be yours because it's the master's identity. It's kind of master-slave kind of thing.
This is something that's a real problem, and once reading Fanon, it opened my eyes to something quite deep, that I am emulating the colonizer to a massive degree.
Self-hatred. You said that there was
self-hatred to a degree I did not imagine was possible, where our older people would literally change when they're in front of Gore. They would change the way they act, and then you'd feel their anger and frustration for their self-hatred come out on the children. I've seen this so many times where they'll get angry because we're not correct in front of the Gore people, because they have this real suppressed understanding of themselves.
I mean, you sketch racism on Go Back Home.
Yeah.
What's that home? Where'd you go?
So this
I'll tell you what, we've got a minute to the break, another, because that track also, Punjab and home, I think it's all connected. So after the break we will pick up on some of these themes. There's lots of themes there: colonialism, internalized oppression, identity, home, and so I think we will pick up on some of those themes, and hopefully we'll hear you sing something as well, and also we'll pick up on by Jagdeep Singh after as well, because I know that I'm sure he influenced you and others as well. But we are going to go for a break, and we'll open up the calls. So if you want to share your thoughts, or even if you want to challenge and question these guys, then please ring in. So we're going to go for a short break, and we'll be with you straight after the break. We're going to talk about rap and Sikhi. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
106 ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕੋਨੇ ਤੋਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਜਾਂ ਡੀ ਲਾਈਵ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹਾਈ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਕਵਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਪੈਗਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਘਰ-ਘਰ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਕਰਵਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰੋ 07702748906 ਤੇ।
Welcome back to the One Show. Very different One Show, maybe alternative One Show today. We've got two rap artists, brothers, and we've been listening to some of their music, and hopefully in the second half of the program we will hear something live as well. But some of the themes, some of the one of the themes is around, what kind of challenges young Sikhs face growing up in the West, in the UK particularly, the effects of colonialism, and how maybe I know that in one of your sketches, in fact, it was part of the Nojwani comedy sketch series that you did a few years ago, which is amazing. You should go on YouTube and just type Nojwani, you'll see it. Was this kind of satire and I think it was a couple of young Sikhs doing a petition to appeal to the government to somehow protect us from harassment. And then there's a critique of that, saying, when did the Sikhs ever ask the British to protect them? You know, and
when did we ask anybody to protect us aside our Guru? We don't need any protection. I find this such a subservient mentality, and I can't understand how it can coexist with the Sikh mind. How can it coexist with the Sikh lifestyle for you to protest and beg someone to take care of you when our Guru has given us Shastra, has given us Agya to bow to the Guru and nobody else? They're like these laws, they're the laws of the land. We bow to our laws of our Guru Sahib. And so this contradiction was something that I really did like playing on, the subservient mind of the people here, and really awakening to the slavery that we're part of every day. Like, where are we? Enlisted part of this army. They're using me as a battery. They're working me in a factory, exporting capitalism, imperialist schisms. This can't be what it isn't. So in the state, I ain't living. While I break this prison, make music contain my vision, all the while keep the pagans at a distance. With the Dunning-Kruger Effect, them with their brains get no respect. Hope inspect where the worldly ways, which I have no interest.
Wow.
And it's just, I want to break this as much as I can, because what I've seen and learned about Sikhi is liberating in the deepest sense.
You've seen the struggles in your, like the racism.
Of course.
But another thing that I picked up again is that, you know, if we look at the Sikhs today, you know, we are very much divided, and in some senses we're reducing this I would say very expansive philosophy, very deep expansive philosophy, to a struggle over groups and of identity, not Sikh identity, but a Jathebandhak identity. And I think that you're trying to push people to transcend that, and that's another big issue. That's a kind of a galami in itself, isn't it?
I try to stay away from like critiquing or understanding Jatheb, because I wasn't brought up in one. I don't understand the struggles they go through and what they're.
But there is, and I think it's in the Tiari album.
It is where I'm questioning.
You're saying, you know, nobody's interested in challenging the power, the people who are causing the oppression.
So like,
just challenging each other.
If you're going to be Sikh, then fight the big man. Who's the biggest person that you can fight? And that's what we do. That's what we do. We fight the biggest oppressor that we have, and we take them on with our Guru's kirpa. We will win and succeed. And it might take a while, like the missile period. However, we will get to a position beyond our first one.
We have to look beyond.
Yeah.
Just coming back to the track that we heard before the break, Punjab. What's that track all about? What, I mean, some of the maybe you can just remind us some of the kind of lyrics in there as well.
Maybe Navdeep can touch on that.
Yes. So just before we touch on that, so what we initially wanted to do was go through the album and just see the progress of the mindset within the album. So just if we go through it generally, what we learned initially was, so our main fundamental standing of what the album was meant to be for was the understanding of bringing Sikhi back into our life, and that was the main gist of what we tried to do. And initially, so we started to study different types of Gurbani, specifically Lava. So in Lava, we started to discover that so Lava is split up to 4 different stages, and the way we understood, the way we interpreted, our own interpretation of what Lava meant to us was almost a summary of 4 stages of life. And what we found was that the first stage generally summarizes, in a sense, what you should understand as what your duty is. And so our interpretation of the first love was understand your duty. And then the second love talked about how to apply that duty. And then the third, make sure you be intoxicated within that duty. Exactly. And then the fourth, making that way natural. So exactly. So what we tried to do was try and take this on and implement it within our lives, in a sense that what's the best way we can learn from Gurbani and listen to what the Guru was saying. So naturally Jagdeep's album actually became in essence almost learning from Gurbani and taking from it the best way we can improve ourselves. And in that similar way, we talked about the structure.
We started off with ideas like Never Here, which is the first song, completely understanding that we're in this predicament and that we want to move forward from it, like we were never here.
So the first structure of the album, if you look at all the number of songs, so there's all these number of songs, they come together in 4 different sections. The first being Never Here, which is questioning your leader and bringing a sense of understanding of what yourself, what your identity actually is.
It's on the leader, because I know that you heard a lot of saying, "Oh, we're waiting for our leader, we're waiting for another Pindranwala." But then other Sikhs are saying, actually, Guru Granth Sahib is your leader.
He is your leader.
If you accept the Guru as your light, then you have a leader. And
you're on your path then.
But there's something about us wanting kind of maybe physical. We want human beings as leaders.
That's very
That's exactly what we're talking about. Since the fact that we've talked a lot about how being a third generation Sikh in that environment, we have almost a different, complete lifestyle. We can't really connect to Punjabi culture nor Sikhi in a similar way as the first generation. But all these ideas, I don't think they exist in the Sikh mindset. So where did our power reside, in a sense? Where did our power come from? It's the Guru. So to be a Guru, you listen to your Sikh, and to be a Sikh, so you listen to your Guru.
And if we accept, बहुत important है जे असी accept कर दे श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब साला जिंदी जागदी जोत है, it's our living Guru. If we accept that, then Guru Gobind Singh ji ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ, Guru Nanak Dev ji ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ. So why do ਸਾਡੇ ਚ ਫਿਰ ਕਿਉਂ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਲੀਡਰ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵੇ? ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਲੀਡਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝਦੇ? ਇਹੀ ਹੈ.
So that's exactly where we stumbled upon. So the album talks about this confusion, and that's as the first video showed in Chosen One is represents that questioning of your existence in this world, in the sense that where you came from and where you're heading. Then slowly moving on to Dunning-Kruger, which is the third song, talks about how generally people, it's just the general gist of
so the Dunning-Kruger effect is where the people who think they know nothing at all but speak the most, and then the people who know so much they don't speak at all. And I felt like that being in a community where they had a deep sense of identity would always combat me and put me down for my own interpretation of Sikhi, which turned out for me to be the most valuable thing, my own interpretation.
So I think that specific change of mindset, with being the confusion aspect of the first stage of the album, we flipped on its head almost, as looking more into the Sikhi aspect. So what does Sikhi say about this pain? Is the
Okay, we've got our first colours, so I'll just tell our viewers we are taking calls. So if you'd like to share your thoughts, please ring in. So ਪਹਿਲੀ ਕਾਲ ਵਾਲ ਜਾਨਣ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. ਹੈਲੋ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ.
ਫਤਿਹ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਨਾਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਤਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਜੀ ਕੋ?
ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ, ਮੈਂ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਬੋਲਦਾ ਜੀ.
ਜੀ
ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈਗਾ, ਇਹ ਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ
ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਉਹ he's phoned in the past, he says you should speak in Punjabi. ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਬਈ ਅਸੀਂ ਭਾਈ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੇ, ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਜਗਰਾਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, ਜਗਰਾਜ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ YouTube ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦੂਜਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਦੂਜੀਆਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸਾਧਨ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਦਓਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਦੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗੀ. So this is also part of that mentality that we've got.
That struggle.
That slave mentality. It's not as if we're giving up Punjabi, but we're finding a way into that, aren't we? That's the key thing.
This is one of the big things, that we have no structure outside of Punjab, or even in Punjab at the moment. The level I thought you can only be colonized outside of Punjab, but colonization occurs at a very deep level in Punjab as well. And to then counteract it, we have no structures here. We have we have small Punjabi schools, which nobody wants to go to Punjabi schools anymore. No one wants to learn. This is what I was saying in the Punjab song, that we're trying to push it onto kids to want to learn Punjabi when it has no use.
But in that track, there is a real kind of emotion in it, very strong emotion towards the end, where you want to go to your Punjabi. You want to. Is that an imaginary Punjab, or because I know that Benedict Anderson, who talked about imagined communities and national nation.
Your motherland.
Is it your imagined space? Is it your utopian space? Or is it the physical land that you're wanting to go back to?
So I think it's twofold. I think the first aspect is what my imagination told me, an imagination of Punjab that was free, Azad. Now, the way I make sense of that is in the recent events where Khalistan became an idea, where self-determination becomes something you can actually attain, and then with that, like being reminded that there was Sikh Raj, there was Kartarpur, there was Anandpur, these cities were built by our gurus and continued forward into a Sikh republic, and then developed from the missiles into a Sikh empire, and then to carry on forward in that movement. I think it gave me a sense of identity deeper than I understood now. And I'm not saying that, well, here is where I'm confused. This is where my understanding finishes.
Well, let me give one. I mean, you might want to come in the Leap Singh's movie, yeah? You know, the Leap Singh represents both sides of that kind of confusion, doesn't he? You know, he becomes a Gora, he becomes a Britisher, he becomes a lord, etc., etc. But then
I grew up like the Leap Singh. I drove up to his body just to greet him, thinking that we're products of an empire.
But you don't.
Well, keep going.
Thinking that we're products of an empire. Now we think the best is the preaching. You're only a Sikh on the weekend. Token in the office, thinky beacon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Only thing I see is a weakling. I had to give it up just to reach in, because when a Sikh wants something, they shut it down.
That weekend Sikh is interesting, because I think I grew up as a Sunday Sikh. And you know, that's all I knew about Sikhi was you have prashad. There are these things called gyanis or pai, overweight, and their job is to give you prashad.
Well, I was born and bred in this country, and the same. You want to be accepted, like from the white people. You say, "Accept me, who I am," but they will never accept you if you try to be like white people.
Constantly begging for approval.
And they will never accept you. So you have to go back to your heritage and value that. And
that's when you need your. That's when you literally scramble back to any glimpse of, and that's what I'm talking about in my Punjab song. I'm running for any glimpse of my identity that will give me some sort of power in this world.
I'm going to take another call, but after I want to talk about the Big Boss song as well, because that's a really powerful. Let's take the next call. Why could you get Khalsa? Why could you get Fateh? Hello, Ji. Hello. Hello, Pai Sahib Ji. Hello, Ji. मुझे लगता है कॉल ड्रॉप हो गई है.
No. The call hasn't dropped. Hello.
हाँ जी, वाहिगुरू जी खालसा, वाहिगुरू जी फतेह जी. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਵ ਹੋ ਭਾਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਤਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਾਲ ਜੀ?
ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ, you were always speaking English. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ?
ਦੇਖੋ, ਇਹ ਯੂਥ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਆ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ.
ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਰਦੋ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲਿਆਉਂਗੇ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਪੂਰਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਪਿਓਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ. ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਬੋਲੀ,
ਔਰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂ, ਜੇ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦਾ ਲਫ਼ਜ਼ ਵਰਤਣਗੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛੂਗੇ. ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਚਲੋ, ਐਨੀਵੇ, ਸੋ what was I saying?
I love his passion though.
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਵਿਊਰ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਵਿਸ਼ਾ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਫਰਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਦਾਇਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ. ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਅਸੀਂ ਰੀਸ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ, ਪਰ ਰੀਸ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ. ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਗਏ, ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਅਰਬੀ, ਫਾਰਸੀ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਰਕੀ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਗਏ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਬੋਲੀ. ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਸੋਚ ਲਓ, ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਮੈਂਟੈਲਿਟੀ ਸਾਡੀ.
ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਵਿਰਸਾ ਭੁਲਾ ਲੈਣਾ, ਵਿਰਸਾ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੈ.
ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਜੰਮ ਪਲ ਆ, ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਜੰਮ ਪਲ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਹੈ. ਸ਼ਾਇਦ
ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ,
ਤਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ. So anyway, sorry about that. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ every week ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੰਮ. ਹਾਂਜੀ.
I think it brings in very neatly to the song Big Man, because it's very easy to fight people who are around you. It's very easy. We can always put down the people that are closest to us, but how hard and difficult is it to fight the people that are making Punjabi illegal in Punjab? That's the enemy. Now we're fighting within each other. It makes no sense. This is what I'm talking about. Like the whole idea that the Indian government is set out to destroy. Well, let's not get conspiratorial, but it is out to destroy Punjabi Sikh identity. It's there to destroy the economy of Punjab. It's there to destroy the language, the heritage, every site. So how can we be happy fighting people on our own channels? It makes no sense. Go out and fight the big man. This is what I put to every Jathebandi. If you're going to do something, go to the biggest person you have as a threat.
I do have Jagdeep, these are his views. You know, I'm sure the Indian government might have their own view, but certainly within our community. In 1984, Manjit, I went to Punjab for the first time in my life, and it was around the Troubles. And partly why I wanted to go, to rediscover my heritage and to learn Punjabi. So I thought, मैं 5 हफ्ते जाना, 5 हफ्ते मैं Punjabi बोलूँगा. And I went down to in Ludhiana. There's a university there, agriculture, and I went to see a professor there. And मैं Punjabi बोलना, वो English बोलते. मैं क्या भाई साहब मैं पंजाबी नहीं कहते नहीं तुसी इंग्लिश बोलो ਅਸੀਂ इंग्लिश ਆਪਾਂ बतानी चाहते हैं मैं क्या इंग्लिश को कहते इंग्लिश तो बगैर कुछ नहीं ਹੁੰਦਾ. So ironically I went to Punjab to learn Punjabi and all the Punjabis were speaking to me in English. So ਇੰਨੀ ਗੁਲਾਮੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous, especially that purity aspect where we think there's somewhere that is ours. We have to fight for it. We have to there's nothing that's going to be given to us. And we have to understand.
Jagdeep, you talked about that you had this kind of moment, awakening, maybe where a realization that you were maybe living a kind of a false identity, a kind of an imposed identity, if you like, a white identity. Yeah, that's another way that Fanon would put that.
Yeah.
Is this something that you think that all young Sikhs of the second or third generation will, at some point in their lives, encounter this question, or do you have to have certain conditions where that question becomes apparent?
I think you have to be quite isolated not to feel the impact of cultural imperialism and the spread of whiteness.
But how do you realise that? I mean, in a sense, there's a paradox, isn't it? Where does the realisation come from?
Because it self-perpetuates and it doesn't allow you to understand anything outside of that. I really put it on the Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Granth Sahib ne mainu sare cheezaਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ. I learnt everything from there, and the awakening to my identity came through that avenue.
But why was it that you, I mean, I'm sure there's many others in Onslow like you, but there's lots that aren't, who are kind of totally going the other way. What was it about their life that maybe they've taken a different direction to yours? Is it circumstance? You know, you just have opportunity?
I think specifically, I think the answer to this question lies very specific in our experiences. That's why it's quite difficult to understand where this confusion and
you have to meet somebody inspires you.
So it's an interesting idea. What you presented is where do you discover this confusion of identity?
It's like, how do you break free from this kind of subaltern identity?
Yeah, exactly. So where this confusion actually came from, was, for example, in our daily experiences with, for example, someone who's white, and the difference between that to someone who from our own ethnicity. And I think where the main differences lie. For example, Jagdeep touched upon that earlier with the fact that just noticing our elder generations, the way they communicate with white people in compared to how they communicate with us. I think that's a big difference in itself.
I think everyone is aware of it. That's a really interesting aspect. That everyone is aware of what's going on. It's about wanting the azadi to be free from this gulami.
But it's so pervasive, you know, Manjit. If you do Google search on skin lightening creams, you'll find millions have hits. Many of them in India. There's something about the Indian people who want to be white. There's a hatred towards dark skin, yeah. So, and they're living in India. We're living. So it's very pervasive, isn't it? This kind of colonial mindset.
Colonial mindset, the racism, it's all part of, like, it goes hand in hand. If you hate yourself, you automatically are subservient. You are no longer a threat. You're easy to be controlled. You are colonized.
Yeah. I'm just want to invite the viewers. I'm sure there will be viewers out there who maybe have a different view, who might think it's all right to, to bring different cultures, bring them together. Who might even say that actually, we're not Punjabis, that we are English or we are British. If you feel like that, if you feel that we should be letting go of our past and, adopting the ways of the present, then we'd like to hear from you as well.
I don't think we could mesh those two things together as something being our past and something being our future. Your identity is
Some
your
people
identity.
do have this.
You mentioned about freedom. Freedom from what?
Yeah, from what?
Freedom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you mentioned about freedom.
Liberation, freedom.
And what do you mean freedom from what?
Living in the image of someone you're not. I think it's as simple as that. When you're not living in a way that is true to yourself, and you do have that inner colonized person that Fanon talks about, you have to kill the colonizer inside yourself and the one outside to free yourself, essentially. So this is the freedom from that.
But the Guruji isn't telling us to discover a Punjabi me.
No.
I mean,
100%.
Guruji says, Mantu Jot Swarup
Yeah.
Apana Mool Pashan, recognize your essence.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to that, but we've got another call. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Hello, Ji.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ
ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ,
ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ ਦੱਸੋ ਤਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਜੀ ਕੌਣ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਅਮਰਜੀਤ ਆ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਮੈਂ ਗ੍ਰੇਜ਼ਲੈਂਡ ਤੋਂ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਭਾਜੀ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ?
ਮੈਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੀਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਭਾਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਰਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਲੱਗ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀਰ। ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੀਰ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਟਿਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਭਰਾਵੋ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਾ ਵੇਸਟ ਕਰੋ, ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੌਮ ਆ ਏਕਤਾ ਕਰੋ ਹਨਾ। ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਇੰਨੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਇਹ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, for God's sake, you know, let's get all together and move on.
Absolutely.
Okay, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਓ ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੰਨੀਆਂ ਗੰਦੀਆਂ ਗਾਲਾਂ ਕੱਢਦੇ ਆ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲੇ ਕੀ ਹੋਰ ਕੀ ਹਨਾ। ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਆ, we are proud, of course we can speak ਪੰਜਾਬੀ and we can speak English. ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, you know, ਉੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਓ ਨਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ।
ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸਹੀ ਕਿਹਾ, ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ ਕਹੂੰਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੇ ਜੰਪਲ ਵੀ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਈਲੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਟਡ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਵਿਰਸਾ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਵਿਰਸਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਥੋਂ ਉਹ ਆਪ ਹੁਣ ਮਿਹਨਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਲਿਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ।
ਸੋ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਤਾਂ ਚਲੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ। I think, I mean, you know, maybe this is part of that insecurity that somehow we've become secure in the colonial mindset, and that, you know, it's easier to stay in that space than to step outside of that space.
I think it's important to also understand that the colonization has been a project. I can't fully accept that it's completely worked on me, because I stand here proud to be a Sikh and of my identity as a whole. So the project has not been complete, and I'm just reversing the effects it's had on me.
Navdeep, we've just got about 5 minutes left. Time's flying. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about the album or any of the tracks? I mean, the big man. I want you to maybe could you give us a couple of lines from the big man? I think that's. I think
difficult. So just to summarize, just basically what we're presenting here is just the album Tiari, and I think it's a truly unique project in the sense that it hasn't been created before. I think this specific project hasn't been created before. In a sense, what it combines, as it combines the identity confusion and openly presents that. I don't think that's shown quite often. Is that just that honesty and that confusion. As well as that, it also shows the result and solution to this confusion is that it's found within Gurbani, it's found within Sikhi, and that's where we have our most power and has been shown previously.
Because there's a lot of fragmentation taking place amongst Sikh Jathebandiyan groups, and they're arguing over what I would say is petty issues. And I know that in the big man you talk about that. You list all the groups, in fact. And then you say you theorize maybe that the reason why you're fighting with each other is that you're not prepared to fight the big one. You know, the real. You know.
That's the thing. Like everyone wants. For me, I feel like everyone wants to feel powerful, and if you can't feel powerful or you're too afraid to fight the real enemy, you'll fight each other to feel that power again. So you'll literally be arguing with each other over things that mean nothing, while your brothers and sisters are getting murdered in your home country.
Absolutely.
Like these things are serious. Like, you're really neglecting and negating any real work that needs to be done to make yourself feel good for the small things that you I wouldn't even call it accomplish. It's a waste of time, essentially.
What does it mean to be a Sikh in this world?
In this world, this is one of the interesting questions. I think you had prepared for me before. Do we have, like,
what
is it different now?
What is our role?
I feel that a Sikh is the same Sikh that it was during the Guru's period. There is no difference. You have the ability to become the same Sikh because the Guru Granth Sahib is there, the Guru Panth still exists. All areas are still there for you to be the Sikh you need to be. There's nothing that's been diluted, nothing that's been distorted enough to take away from you achieving your potential as a Sikh.
Yeah. You know, we've just got about 3 or 4 minutes. We started the program talking about Jagdeep Singh Ji, we're going to give you an opportunity to maybe reflect on.
So again, very sorry to hear of his loss. He did a lot of seva for the Panth and gave everyone a nice basic understanding of Sikhi to obviously then progress on into learning Gurbani, learning about Shabad and Kirtan themselves.
We met him quite a few times in a sense. I think he's always had a positive impact. So the situation.
Yeah. And I think the word basic doesn't mean that it was basic. And what I think he was doing was giving us the roots, the essence, out of which it's a bit like a tree. Once you capture the seed, then oaks can grow. And I think that's what he was doing. He's inspiring young Sikhs to go and discover.
He did manage to inspire a lot of Sikh to then go ahead and then start learning for themselves outside of basics of Sikhi, which I found.
Are we trying to expand the numbers? Are we trying to make non-Punjabis into Sikhs? What are we trying to do? Is it a numbers game? What is it?
This is another effect of colonization where you're desperately trying to get at pieces of, let's expand, let's have the numbers, and then you're losing all the concept of Sikhi, where we have never had Ginti on our side. We've never had masses on our side. It's only been the few that stand up against oppression.
Well, yeah, I'm always thinking of Banda Singh Bahadur. I mean, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, there were 5. He set off with 5 Singhs, and he destroyed the Mughal Empire, which had been ruling India for 600 years. It's Banda Singh Bahadur. So I think it's not a numbers game, is it? It never is.
Not at all.
Yeah.
What about your future plans? Anything you would like to take your work further, or
future plans? I have a few projects that are coming out very soon. One a little bit controversial, but I think it's necessary. It's called Chitta Pangafi Mandaru, and I really want to talk about the issues of going into drugs, of going into nashe, because I also was in bad company where out of the frustration of not knowing who I am, out of the frustration of not having an avenue to direct what I knew as Sikhi into life, I was going down paths that I didn't want to go.
There's a lot of alcoholism amongst Punjabis and mental health problems, and I would suggest this is one of the reasons why, because it's almost if you're living, your body and your soul are
things,
not
and we
connected.
don't open up and don't discuss on our tables and don't connect with people.
But when it's the last minute, but when we were talking about Manta Jod Srup Apa Mool Pashan, recognize your mool means origin, your essence, and surely that's not a Punjabi essence, is it? It's not an English essence, because these are entities that come and go. There's something much deeper, isn't it? Something much deeper.
That's definitely where the album in a sense, involves that, is that the essence is Sikhi. It has always been Sikhi.
Yeah.
So that's what the
Which I
album
think, 3/4 of the way through the album, this is what me and Navdeep were discussing. How do we go from, because we ended up at nationalism and being Punjabi as the end all, but then we were like, we need to go further than this. We need to go further than this. And so we developed, we studied for a long while, discussing Sikhi and understanding it, and then put that.
Our time is up now, and we will get you guys on again because.
Definitely, thank you for coming down.
Thank you very much. My main man, Dr. Gulab Singh.
Just want to mention before we forget, we're going to be off for a few weeks, and we'll be back in September. So I'll see ਥੋੜੀ ਵੀ ਕੱਲ ਆਫ ਹੋਣਾ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਸਤੰਬਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਉਂਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲੈਣੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਜੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ we'll do the odd show here and there but ਅਸੀਂ ਸਤੰਬਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਤ ਤੇ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਗੇ with new guests and hopefully we'll bring these guys as
obviously,
well
yeah.
so ਅੱਜ ਬਹੁਤ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਲੱਗਾ
ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰਾ ਹੈ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰਾ
ਔਰ this cutting edge is really important we do that so ਇੱਥੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਬੋਲੇ